I want to talk to you now about a technique that you can use that's going to give you a little more flexibility with your charting and graphing. As I was saying at the top, I've been able to use Excel charts and graphs to a great extent, often in combination with pivot tables, but this particular table has several different charts and graphs derived from it, and I created all of these in order to populate an infographic that I put up on my blog in the last month or so. Now, what I wanted to do that was a little bit unusual was I wanted to get more fine-grained control over all of the charts that I have made, and these are all just various and sundry representations of the same information, just rendered very differently from one another. And I think the easiest, because we don't have a lot of time, I'm just going to pick this one, this little this chart right here. Your typical random pie graph. It doesn't really give you a lot of flexibility, or as much as you could want. But I'll just demonstrate by copying this over, putting it onto another sheet, like so. And if you wanted to do anything with it at all, it's going to bring up this entire window full of chart options. And if you don't like what you see, you're basically going to be designing the chart within the constraints of Excel, because because all of the information is linked to the different elements of data behind, in sort of quote unquote in the background. However, another thing that you can do is don't just copy and paste, use instead copy and paste special. I'm going to do that right now. And well, first I'm going to throw this one away. I don't need it, but I still have it in the clipboard. But this time when I paste special, it comes up, and it comes up with a series of different options. And the two that I like, that I think are really helpful here, that you should experiment with, are Picture Enhanced Metafile and Microsoft Office Drawing Object. Now, Microsoft Enhanced Metafile is native to Windows and Office, and here it is. And it shows up a little bit differently. So the really elegant sort of embossed edges are gone, and it looks a little more like a vector image, which I believe is what it is. And we'll find out what I mean in just a minute, because if you want to start editing this, you can use the Ungroup command, and it'll tell you that it's changing it into a Microsoft Office drawing object. But the benefit of that is that now, where this data label for this pie slice, which used to be one element, now it is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, and so you can style it more if you want to. You can edit. You can change the size of one. You could probably change the font of another one. This one, this particular one, happened to divide itself up because there was a minus sign in the label. So there is. You can experiment with different charts, and they will all give you different points where there's some flexibility and other points where there isn't. But again, you can, for example, start grabbing these different elements and moving them around like so. And note as I do that, that the shapes are contained inside of, they have these rectangular handles. So I suppose that I could grab one and I could do that, and if I wish to, if I really wanted to get to get crazy with the artsiness of it, I could do that. What I also wanted to show you was that you can, once it's in this format, you can use edit points, just as though you were in Illustrator or your illustration package of choice, and you can start picking around and moving the points as you want to, just as if you were doing it in Illustrator. So, and as you can see, you're able to do this right here in Excel itself if you want to. You can do the same thing. You can do the same thing in Microsoft PowerPoint as well. So if you're in the business, as I am, of copying charts out of Excel and putting them into PowerPoint in order to do this kind of stuff, you don't necessarily have to. You can do them here in entirely self-contained in Excel. How does that look to everybody? And any comments or questions? Is this how useful is this to you or not?
I think everyone's muted. If you want to unmute and share comments, that would be great. I have never pasted that way, so that was really interesting.
It occurred to me to do that, Courtney, years ago, and once again I was preparing an infographic. That one of the things that I want to do often is, all right, let me back up and start again. I create data visualizations and infographics as one of the services that I offer, and but there's a sort of, like, I say that with a caveat, in that I don't like to just spit out a chart and have that be the end of it. I really want to make sure that the infographic that I do, or the data viz that I do, is really data rich and is something that a user will actually really pay close attention to and glean a lot of information from. And for my purposes, in order to do that, I want to usually combine one or two or three charts. And in fact, the next example that I will show, time permitting, gives you an idea exactly what I'm talking about. So that's how this little technique, sort of how I found it and what prompted me to look for it in the first place. Any other impressions that people want to share before I move on to the next and the third point?
It doesn't look like it. Looks like I've got a lot of head shakings. I am texting with my husband because it looks like